everyone, Rascal here.
And Mama, welcome to Paws On Animation and our Paws On Manga segment.
Today we're covering the manga version of Yashahime, Princess Half Demon.
Now, this is a recent manga adaptation of the Yashahime anime, and this one, however, acts as a reboot or retelling, as it diverges lots of plots and characters from the original anime.
Yes, definitely. And before we start with that, be sure to like, subscribe, click notifications on future podcasts and all the pause videos.
Yes, and thank you so much for subscribing and your support. We really appreciate it.
Yes.
So we were surprised to actually learn that this was out.
Yes. And this actually still going, because not only has it not finished telling the entire story all over again, the manga volumes come out every few months, like maybe 5 to 6 months, so you almost get one manga volume a year, which is a pretty weird strategy, but okay.
Well, this particular manga is being written by Takashi Shina, with a script preparation by Katsuki Sumisawa.
Yes, and for this interpretation, like if you've watched the anime, you'll know almost beat for beat what happens. In the manga version, it sort of switches away from what the anime told in a big way. Most importantly is the fact that it more focuses on huge manga or anime tropes that people may or may not care for. One of the biggest things is that with Toa in the anime, it was clear she was the tomboy. You guys wanted to fight her. She kicked their butt. And that was really it. There really was no controversy with her character, her being in school. No one actually even talked about her in a way that's exaggerated. The biggest change in here with her is that in here it's the exact opposite. Not only does she go to an all-girls school, which I don't think was the case in the anime, but all the girls have crushes on her, including her own sister, not Setsuna, but the other sister, and guys want to fight her because they thought they would prove their masculinity, and they like her because she's androgynously dressed, and it just becomes like an entirely different thing for her character and how she's seen by other people.
Well, that's because it's a different writer.
All
clearly,
together.
This writer has different ideas than Takahashi.
Yeah.
Now, back to the volumes you were mentioning. So far, 5 have been released. 3 of them actually came out in 2022, January, May, and October. And then 2 were released in 2023 in April and August. And as of this podcast, 1 was also released in February.
Right. And like we said, it's sort of like Toradora, where the volumes are released so in between each other, you could watch the anime all over again by the time they get the next volume out. But they do condense quite a bit in each volume.
Now, for those of you not familiar with Yashahime, Princess Half Demon, it's a sequel to the Inuyasha original anime.
Yes.
And it focuses on the 2 daughters of Sesshomaru and Ren.
Right.
Not Moroha, which is what we thought. And this book doesn't do any better. It doesn't focus on her
No, it does something different with that too.
So in this book, as Rascal said, it's the opposite of the anime. The first thing that strikes you is the drawing style is totally different. And all the characters look different. And here, the ones who are half demons or full demon like Sesshomaru really have a more primal look. You see their fangs a lot. You see they look more of how Inuyasha would look when he was going feral.
Right.
And that's the noted market difference from the anime itself.
Right.
And they also tend to be, I don't know, to me they kind of look like it's a cross between a modern style and kind of like an early 2000s. It's the drawing is really distinct, but unfortunately in this case it's not a good thing.
Yeah. And that's definitely true because the art style is so drastically different from the anime. And we found out when we read each volume of the book that there was interviews with the author and Takahashi who gave permission and talked to each other about what he adapted. And in here, he purposely chose that because in his comics, he really loves drawing monsters, and really likes when they're really monstrous looking, and their fangs and their eyes and their stuff. And he loved Inuyasha, but he felt like they underutilized in both animes of using the demon form and the monsters of the half and half looking. And he personally had stated he didn't really care for the fact that they looked mostly human throughout the series. So in this one, he wanted to have that monster underneath the surface thing looking all the time, and then go all out when they unleash their full form, because that's the part he liked the most. So he chose to have them look purposely different from everyone else. And I think that kind of messes with it, because now they don't really blend in with anybody else. They look different and it's obvious and no one cares.
Now, the second thing connecting with that is how you were mentioning how Toa looks androgynous. It's kind of like they wanted to do the Kashima storyline.
Yes, definitely.
And I think that also takes away from the story. As you mentioned, everybody falls for Toa.
It's specifically girls. They make it clear all girls are attracted to Toa, which is nothing that happened in the anime. And it comes off so weird because they do it later. Even in the feudal era, there are girls looking at her. And it's like, why? There's no purpose behind this.
And it kind of looks like she's not going to end up with Riku in this one, because
no, that's the biggest sin of this manga.
They have her liking the attention. It's not like she's confused or why. In the anime, she mentions that question why she wore the suit, and she clearly states it's because it's easy for her to move around. Clearly, she doesn't worry about her skirt or anything else, so she wears the suit and a little tie. But it's clear that this is just for comfort's sake and convenience.
That's
she
it,
says it. But in here, it seems to be a purpose. So it looks like the author likes Yuri, because that looks like
we haven't read
particular. Even if you don't read the whole story, it's clear Sheena likes Yuri because that's all that's in every single volume we've read.
Which is so, and there's
nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
It's just it's so different
from
the way the characters are portrayed in the anime.
Because it really wasn't there, period, in the anime. And not just for Toa's changes, but Setsuna is way different, and she's a lot more harsher in here than she is in the anime, and she's aware of what's going on with the dream butterfly. Now she doesn't believe in they have to prove this is why she can't sleep. She knows she made the deal and doesn't care. It's like, what?
So I think this particular series is going for a different audience entirely. Now that you mentioned that, the whole backstory for Moroha and Setsuna
is altered,
and Toa is completely different.
Right.
And it's more Chinese centric, because in the manga they insinuate that they weren't from Japan now, they're from China. So it's like,
and
this
they just
person
live in
reading
Japan.
it wants to do something totally different, and I guess as long as Takahashi doesn't mind, then that's what we're gonna get. So if you are okay with something being totally different from the anime, which you absolutely love, and you just want to see a different take, this is probably a manga for you. But if not, and you're looking for someone to put in a reading volume, the events of the anime, it's not going to happen. It reminds me of the Tiger and Bunny manga, where the anime came first, and then the manga came out. And in the Tiger and Bunny manga, like in the anime where Kotetsu was the one who was figuring out things, he was the one who was smarter. Sorry, Barnaby. He was the one figuring out things. He was the elder. They switched it in the manga, and Kotetsu became useless, and Barnaby did everything.
Yeah, and that was so weird.
And they clearly were going for a different audience, so it kind of reminds me of that.
Yeah, and quickly, well, not quickly, but going down some of the other changes, because going into detail of all of them will take 2 hours altogether.
Well, these are the major changes that make a big difference in how you are receiving the manga, and it's evident from the very first volume.
Right. We mentioned Toa and Setsuna. Moroha's change is that she doesn't use the bow all that much. She mostly uses Inuyasha's, and there's a heavier tone in using Inuyasha and Sesshomaru's side of the family rather than Kagome's, because the author is more biased towards the monsters. They have a really good, really passion for drawing monsters, so they want to take advantage of that. Setsuna and Moroha actually end up growing up together, and they become more like sisters, which drives a further gap between Setsuna and Toa, which utterly changed things. And you watch Kagome, how they got trapped in the Black Pearl is changed already. Riku came into the story way sooner and knew Kagome and Inuyasha back when the twins were babies, which was a huge change.
Right.
They insinuated that Moroku was gonna leave Sango at some point because he wanted more kids. It's like how many more? Oh, and Kagome's brother is really crazy.
We're gonna
in
leave
here.
that one alone.
It's
There's
like
gotta be some surprises for you. But that's going to be the biggest surprise.
that's all we can do.
And it's going to be an unbelievable surprise. And you're going to be like, this guy, what is he into? Because
right.
all of this
it's
is
so different.
And the wholesomeness of the anime is lost in this manga.
Unfortunately,
so if that was one of the things that you liked, you're not going to get it here.
Yeah.
That being said, the actual covers are absolutely beautiful.
Yes, that's one of the best things about the manga.
To look at, yes. And they are shared immensely on Twitter because they look so good.
Right.
And
definitely.
right now, that's the best thing about the manga is the actual cover art.
Yeah, whether it's in black and white or color, it looks fantastic. That is probably the best part visually looking at it.
Definitely.
But yeah, this is gonna be, if you watch the anime, it's gonna be sort of a strange thing. It's literally reading a reboot. And if you haven't, then you can just take it for what it is and not be affected by it.
Right, so based on that, I would say if you've never seen Yashahime, read this manga first and then look at the anime.
Right.
Because they're so different.
Right.
And if you're a diehard fan of Inuyasha and you just want to see the continuation, but you haven't, watch the anime first. And if you haven't watched either Inuyasha or Yashahime, what the heck are you waiting for? Watch them.
Right.
And then maybe check this book out.
Right.
But if you have read Yashahime, Princess Half Demon Manga, let us know in the comments below. What do you think of all the changes and the divergence from the original story that takes place in the anime? Let us know what you think. And if you haven't, it's available probably in your public library. It's available on Amazon to purchase. I don't recall seeing it in stores, but if you want to read it, there's got to be a way for you to get it.
Right.
Check it out. Come back and tell us what you think.
And if you haven't already, subscribe for updates and weekly videos for your anime series, anime shows, and all things animation, and some manga.
Absolutely. And be sure to like this video, subscribe, and share it. It really helps our channel out a lot.
Yes. So thank you so much for watching Rascal Entertainment
And Mom Entertainment.
Have a fantastic day.
Peace.